Hello. Hey, y'all. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm actually live. I'm actually testing out new software, so I'm hoping that it is working. Happy Sunday evening, y'all. I hope you all are doing well. I am doing this very quick live video because I want to speak to those of you who want to coach but you are scared of social media. Okay. And when I say scared of social media, what I really mean by that is like social media feels like a stage, right? It feels like a stage. It feels like you're going to have to really perform on there. And it feels overwhelming. Like, what am I going to say if I have to perform? Like, what does that look like? Um, I have to look, put together. People aren't going to take me seriously. I have to, make myself look, credentialed or look like I actually know, what I'm talking about. And I think there is no other group. I don't think there's any other group that really experiences this in the way that physicians do, in the way that doctors do. And I think it's because we are so used to the public having a certain perception of us, right? That we feel like we need to maintain when we're on social media, right? So because we're doctors, because we went to med school and society has deemed that we have the upper echelon, profession, then we think that we need to show up a certain way online and we put off showing up online until we feel internally like we're ready to do that. um or we like that's where a lot of the like credential seeking comes from. I need a certain number of followers, to kind of prove that I'm, someone who knows what they're talking about, or I gotta go viral, or I have to sit under this guru, or I need this certification. Like a lot of it is coming from our our desire to look a certain way, and I get it. Like that's the thing, I get it. And I specifically want to speak to those of you who you do want to coach, right? And you're under earning, so either you haven't made any money in your business or you haven't yet made the money that you would want to make, right? So either you're like undercharging or you're like beta testing offers, that sort of thing. And I just want to say I completely get it because I'm you, right? So like the generic cookie cutter business coaching like advice of like be visible, show up, like that doesn't work for us. Like just telling doctors to be visible and show up doesn't work for us. Because in order to be visible and show up, we're going to hear that and we're going to think, okay, perfection. I got to make sure I have, all my I's dotted, all my T's crossed, my website's popping, like that's our default. And again, that's coming from really, I call it trauma, like little T trauma. Like I don't want to offend anyone, right? Little T trauma, but it is still trauma, right? I believe it's still trauma because medicine, the process of getting into medicine and then the process of being successful and staying in medicine is really predicated on following the rules, making sure that you are jumping through the hoops that were placed in front of you, the MCAT hoop, the USMLE hoops, the board certification hoop. Like, there's always these hoops, and there's always someone that you're trying to impress. There's always someone who has the power to let you in or keep you out. And I just want to offer like, even when you're in attending, there is still always someone who is there to make sure that you are on top of your stuff, right? So there's always someone to impress, right? Whether it's press gainy, right? Like it's patience and like patient satisfaction, or the administration. There's always someone to impress, always. And so we bring that mentality into our businesses, and it makes us, it slows us down. And it's not because you don't think you can help people, right? Like, I've never really met a doctor who's like, I want to be a coach, but I don't think there's anyone I can help. I don't know. I just don't meet, and I meet a lot of doctors, a lot of women doctors, and I've just never heard that. What I hear is, I know I can help people. I don't think the people will believe that I can help them. So that's why I got to do all of these things, right? Like I got to like dot on my I's, cross on my T's, all of that stuff. So I want to give you a reframe today. I want to give you a reframe because I think the thought, not I think, the thought is like when we hear social media, because of what I just said, our brain equates that to performance. It feels like you need to perform. It feels like, again, like social media is a stage, and I'm going to have to sing and dance and wear a fancy number. And like, I've even had doctors say to me, I feel like I have to become a new person in order to like really actually for sure for real be successful on social media. And I used to think that way too, and I no longer do. I don't think, and I sell on social media. I mean, clearly, I'm here. I sell on social media. I teach my clients to sell on social media. And even my clients who are shy introverts, like myself, y'all don't believe me when I say I'm a shy introvert. I'm going to still say it because it's true, but I know you don't believe me. But I have shy introverts on social media. I have an introvert in one of my programs who made $65,000 in Q1. And Q1 doesn't end till tomorrow, so she might make some more, right? So like you don't have to be charismatic and out there and like super loud with your voice, and you like need a new personality. Like you don't need all of that. You don't need to go viral. You don't need some other person to vouch for you. I want you to consider this. I have never, ever had an expert or a guru or a famous person put me on, shout me out. Like, I've never had that. I will say I did, I have done some podcasts. I was able to be on a podcast with Sarah Jakes Roberts because of my thought leadership and because of like my boldness of like approaching her. But I have never, ever, ever had someone like put me on. I've never had someone say, hey, you have access to my community. You can sell to them. Never. Like, I sell to cold people. Like, even when I was a procrastination coach. So I just want to say you don't have to like fundamentally change who you are. And I'm going to talk about how, right? Because I don't want to just say, oh, you don't have to change, but I don't teach you how. So I'm going to talk about how. Yeah, like how can you show up, be yourself, and still make money? Like that's really the question, right? Like that's the question at the heart of all of this. How do I show up? How can I still be myself and make money? Like I don't have to like become a new person. I don't have to, morph into this like different human being. And so I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps that I walk my clients through in order to show up online, but be yourself and still make money. Like sign high ticket clients, so that you can get them results, right? Because again, my job with my clients is to fast track their ability to sign clients, right? I for multiple reasons, but the number one reason is if you want to become a coach, the best way to become a coach is to actually coach humans, not to get a certification. not to sit under another guru and learn their process. The best way to become the best coach that you can be, and the reason why my clients in my school, in all of my programs, why their clients get incredible results is because they are coaches, like they're coaching actual humans. And because coaching and marketing and sales are all about belief and movement. So it's all about helping someone to believe and move. And if you can master the process of helping someone believe and move when they are not your client, once they're your client, it's going to be incredible. Like they're going to be able to do it. It's because that process of belief and movement started before they became your client. Okay, so again, the whole purpose of this particular live is to really talk to those of you who are scared of social media. So, in order to still show up online and make money and be yourself, there's 4 things that you need to do. Okay, when you do these 4 things, you don't have to be sleazy, you don't have to go viral, like none of that is required. Okay? So let's talk through them. So step 1, right, is to own your expertise. There's 4 steps. This is step 1. Owning your expertise is the first thing you have to do. So here's the thing, when you are unsure about what you're selling, when you are unsure that people will actually buy your offer, everything feels hard. And that's when you feel like you have to put on a dog and pony show online, right? Captions feel awkward. Your stories feel fake. This is when we get into the like, I need to make it pretty so that people will, jive with it. It's fundamentally coming from us not like fully owning our expertise. And when I say owning our expertise, like knowing that people desire to pay you for the value of the transformation you can provide. Right? Like knowing the value of it and knowing exactly what you bring to the table. So like when you own your expertise and when you know what you bring to the table, you can say less and it still lands. I'm going to say that again. When you are fully owning your expertise and when you know what you bring to the table, you can say less and it will still land. Right? And so you show up with belief, not begging. Two different things, right? And you stand as a lighthouse, right? You stand as a lighthouse shining a light for what's possible to your people on social media rather than being a tugboat. So I talk about this all the time, the difference between a lighthouse and a tugboat. Both of them are designed to get boats to their destination, right? To help boats that are lost at sea and to guide them. Both of them are designed to do that. However, a lighthouse stands tall and shines the light so the boats are like, okay, let me get into movement, let me go where I'm going, right? That's what a lighthouse is going to do. And it's firm and it's centered and it's grounded, right? So remember, you ain't got to change who you are. You can be firm, centered, and grounded. And tugboats are the complete opposite, right? So a tugboat, again, the purpose of it is the same, but a tugboat is in the water hustling. That's what a lot of doctors are doing on social media. Like, let's say social media is the water. We're tugboats in the water hustling. We're just trying to pull the other boats along, right? So either, again, we think social media is like a stage. And so we feel like we need to show up and dance and sing and do cutesy dances and all of the things, right? Or we feel like we have to overprove our worth and our value by providing free information, tips, and tricks, as opposed to actually selling your offer, right? And that's only because we are in the water being a tugboat. We're expending a lot of energy. You get tired. Like, this is when you're like throwing spaghetti at the wall and none of it's sticking, so you just keep boiling more spaghetti and throwing it. I'm not always the best with my metaphors, y'all, so just bear with me. But the lighthouse and tugboat metaphor, that's legit, okay? So lighthouses, like when you own your expertise, you become a lighthouse necessarily. Like you become a lighthouse as opposed to being in a tugboat, hustling, spending a lot of energy. And the thing is, like, tugboats work, right? Like they work really, really hard. And sometimes you can have some success. Like you can actually pull a boat along. Like you can like just shove, like pull it hard enough till it, follows you. However, think about now you're in the coaching relationship, right? You're always going to be pulling that boat because your content did not get that person into belief and movement ahead of time. Ahead of time, right? So when you own your expertise, you don't have to show up online doing the song and the dance, right? Again, I'm going to say this again. You can say less and it still lands. You show up with belief, not begging, right? So you don't need to be convincing. You just need to be clear. Right? So that's why that absolutely, absolutely has to be the first step. Okay. And so again, if you're scared of social media, I need you. It's only because you're thinking about it the wrong way. You're thinking that you have to do all of these fancy things to convince people to work with you. And I just want to say you don't have to do all of that, right? Like you're going to share, you're going to show how you can help people, but you're going to do it as a lighthouse, not as a tugboat. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing, so the second step of the 4-step process. And if you're curious, I'm actually just breaking down my IP to income blueprint. This is what I teach my clients really on all my programs. This is how I made my first 5 figures in a month in my coaching business after not making any money in the first year. Because I was being a tugboat. I was being a typical doctor on Facebook, a typical doctor on Instagram, just doing everything, doing all of the things. Okay. So step 2, right? So after you really own your expertise, you have to turn that expertise into a process, into a proven process. And this is where a lot of you guys are like looping. Like you don't think you have a process. And I've heard so many doctors say that to me, like, Dr. Kimmy, I don't have a process. Like, I don't have like worksheets or templates. It's not really about worksheets and templates. Those can come out of your process later. But if you have a story, you have a process. If you took yourself from point A to point B, you have a process. You just haven't documented the process. You haven't looked at your story and actually downloaded and documented the process. That's the only difference here. That's the only difference. Right? So no one in the world wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to create a proven process today. I'm going to create intellectual property today. No. What do? They're living. Like every single coach with a process that works, every single one of them, they were just out living their life. They were out in the world living their life, trying to get a result. And then they did some stuff didn't work. Then they did some other stuff and it kind of worked. And then they did some other stuff and it really, really worked, right? And they finally got the result. And then they looked back at what they had done and they said, oh, you know what? first I did this and then I did that and then I tried that and that didn't work. Let me X that out, right? Like every single process is someone looking back on what they've done, right? The steps that they took, and then putting that into a framework, putting that into milestones. So when you look at it, you're looking at the final version thinking that like, oh my gosh, this package is so beautiful, it's so pretty. Yeah, it's only because that person decided that they were an expert and decided to package it. And you can do that too. I just refuse to believe that other human beings get to do this and doctors don't, and women doctors don't. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that other humans with human brains are somehow better than us. Like, no. It's a no. It's a no for me. It's a no for me, right? And so if you don't understand you have a process, if you don't understand fundamentally that you have a proven process, you'll either not get out there and sell because you're like, what am I selling? I don't even know what I'm selling. Like I don't even know like what am I going to be walking people through? What would I this is one. What would I be coaching on? I don't even know what I would be coaching on, so I shouldn't sell yet until I figure out what I would be coaching on. And that's when a lot of the like circling and certification seeking comes from, right? Because we're like, I don't even know like how I would help that person, or like how will they know that I can help them? The number one way your people will know that you can help them is by having a defined process. This is where you're going to start. When you work with me, this is where you're going to start. These are the steps I'm going to walk you through, and then this is where you'll end up. An example: when my doctors come to me, they want to be a coach and they don't know how to actually package what's in their head into a coaching offer, and they're unsure about how to market and sell it. And some of them, they're unsure, so it's just been like in their head, just like living rent free in their head. Or some of them have been, been trying. They've been trying to put themselves out there. They've been trying to sell, trying to, and for whatever reason it isn't landing, or people are like trying to pick their brain, right? Also, aside, if people are trying to pick your brain, I know for sure that you are not doing step two. I know for sure that you're not doing step two. I'll talk about that another. Hopefully, I remember, because sometimes I don't always remember things when I'm doing it live. But I'll come back to that. But like, if people are trying to pick your brain, you are likely not doing step two. And like, no wonder you're scared or hate social media, right? Because it's gonna feel exhausting if you're like, I don't even know really what I'd be walking these people through. So then you start doing all the other things to try to prove mainly to yourself. You're trying to prove mainly to yourself that you can help people, like in a very, very specific way. And you're trying to prove to yourself that other people will get it. And when you do this step, like when you have a process, like when you're able to say, this is just an example, right? Because this is my framework. When you're able to say, I have a process that's called the IP to income framework that's going to help you download your story from your brain and turn it into a proven process. Turn that process into an offer that builds demand, and then go out and sign your first 5K to 20K client. Like when you're able to say that, it communicates so much trust, so much certainty. That's the word. It communicates certainty to your potential clients, right? And that's when people come to you. That's when they are like drawn to you. And honestly, what I love about these 4 steps, and I've never really said it like this before, but this really just hit me. These 4 steps, like on their own work, like just you showing up and owning your expertise, that in and of itself works, right? It works to build that like that certainty with your potential client. And just you like really, really understanding and knowing what your proven process is that comes from your story, and it's proven because it's coming from your story because you've done it, right? That in and of itself works. Like all of these steps work by themselves, right? But when you combine them together, the results become like next level. They literally become next level. So you're no longer online sharing tips and like random thoughts like, and y'all know I'm a Jesus girl. I love the Bible. Love the Bible. Got four sitting right there. Okay. And yet, and still, so many of us are online sharing like random Bible verses that we put on a Canva graphic because we don't know what else to say online, right? And I, I, my brain at night just comes up with all kinds of things. My brain was like, listen, Jesus doesn't want you to do that. Jesus wants you to sell your offer. Okay, like Jesus wants you to make money in your business so you can help establish the kingdom. So like random Bible verses ain't it. Now, of course, share the Bible. The Bible is incredible. It's amazing. We love it. But yeah, like Jesus wants you Jesus wants you to make money, okay? I don't even know where that came from. I'm going to move on. Okay, I'm going to move on. So that's step 2. So turning your expertise into a process. Step 3. Now we turn that process into an in-demand offer. And this is really the cheat code because when your offer is built right and it infuses sales psychology into it and it's built for demand, you don't need a million followers. You don't need to go viral. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need one person, the right person, your person, to see your offer, and their first thought is, that's exactly what I've been looking for. That's it. That's exactly what I've been looking for. Like that. I want that. I had a client say that to me. She's a new client. She just joined IPMD last week. And she said that to me. She was like, when I saw your offer, it was like I knew that this was my next step. That is the power of an in-demand offer. Having an offer built with demand built in, right? Having an offer with demand built in is like having fire. Like the offer it's just a fire in and of itself. And then learning how to sell and learning how to market really is just you pouring gasoline on that fire. But like an in-demand offer communicates so much certainty to your person. Like they see it, they want it, right? They see it, they want it. There's no convincing, there's no explaining, there's no, like, it's just like, I see it, I want it. That is what I want, right? And so that's step 3. And so inside of IPMD, the way I teach my clients to do this is with the 6 demand triggers, which, because it's like almost 10 o'clock, I will not go through the demand triggers, but I did a live video slash podcast. I think it was on Friday about that. So you can definitely check that out. All right, so that's step 3. And step 4, so notice all of these steps are taking a lot of the like guesswork and frustration out of social media, because the only reason we're on social media doing a dog and pony show is because we don't understand these steps. So when you have these steps and when you do them, then social media doesn't feel like this like ambiguous world that like you can't really figure out. Right. And then it's no longer about like, oh, I got to find the right platform. It doesn't matter what platform you use. It really doesn't. I have clients on LinkedIn. I have clients on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't know about X. Like most of us have X'd out our former Twitter accounts. So that's probably the only one that like we're not using, right? I primarily work with Black women and women of color, and we not doing homeboy like that. So we're not using his platform. But other than that, you can actually be platform agnostic. I am platform agnostic. I don't care what platform you use, as long as you understand and have an in-demand offer, right? So step 4 is now notice like the flow, right? So own your expertise, turn that expertise into a proven process, turn that process into an in-demand offer, and then step 4 is you activate that demand. So everything builds on each other, right? And this is where the money happens. This is literally where the money resides. So you are showing up and you're sharing your offer, you're sharing your story, right? You're having conversations with people, you're refining, basically, you're in movement, right? Because you can have an in demand offer, but if no one sees it, then how will they know that it's an in demand offer, right? So we have to put it out there. No, it's not performing, right? Because you've owned your expertise, you have a proven process, and you have the offer itself communicates demand. So when your offer communicates demand, you don't have to really know how to sell that well yet. And now I teach sales. I love sales. I teach marketing. I love marketing. I teach like those concepts and those principles, particularly in my mastermind and in the Doctor Coach School. But in IPMD, I still have clients making money. How can that be true? Because once you've owned your expertise, you've turned that expertise into a proven process, and then you are turned that process, right, into an offer built for demand. Once you start activating that demand, right, you can do one post and get sales calls. That happens all the time. One post, have people reaching out to you. And it all comes from just following these steps. So if you hate social media, usually when doctors who want to be coaches say I hate social media, it's really like they hate the association that their brain has made with social media. They hate who they think they'd have to be on social media. Like that's typically what we hate, right? It's typically not the actual platform itself. It's like all the other things that come with it, the performing and the like, just all of that. Often it doesn't feel authentic, or we feel like we have to look like the famous like Instagram influencer. And that's not true, right? Social media is a tool that you're going to use to connect with your person. Your social media is not your business. We aren't influencers. When we're coaches, we're not influencers, right? The social media is not the business. Your offer is the business. Your in-demand offer is the business, right? So I just wanted to put that out there and just kind of help you take a deep breath, right? Like you don't even, I'm just going to throw this part in there. You don't even have to do it like me, right? Like I made 15K. I had a 15K one-on-one coaching offer as a procrastination coach back in 2021 without any of the stuff that you guys might see on my social media page now. None of this. I had a Facebook group of 49 people. I started a Facebook group. It had 49 people in it. I did a live video. Like I would do a live video once a week and maybe a post. That's it. As a procrastination coach, and I would sign clients basically every time I went live. And before I transitioned fully to business coaching, my highest offer was a 15K one-on-one procrastination offer, and I sold that. And so, again, I was me. I was me after rounds in my white coat. Sometimes I would take it off. But it was me after rounds, right? Just me. Like, me, this was during COVID. So it was me in my, remember we would all wear surgical caps back then because we didn't want the coronavirus in our hair. It was me in my surgical cap after rounds with my stethoscope on. Just have a water bottle and I'm doing a live video. It was just me. Shy me. I know y'all don't believe me, but I am shy. Introverted me, right? Like just me showing up, being like, I know I can help you. This is how. And I communicated that this is how through my offer. So if you are a woman doctor and you want to learn this process, if you want to become a coach and sign 5K to 20K clients, and it feels daunting and it feels overwhelming, it feels like you would have to work up to that, or it feels like you'd have to beta test your way up to that, get a bunch of testimonial credentials, certifications, you ain't got to do any of that. You got to follow these 4 steps. This is exactly what I teach inside of IPMD. IPMD stands for Intellectual Property Mastery for Doctors. It's where I help you go from IP to income using the 4 steps that I just outlined. So if you want to do this, I want you to book a decision call. The link should be in the chat somewhere. Okay? We have some incredible bonuses that are going on until tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So a demand activation intensive. So I'm going to teach you my process for activating demand live. We're going to do it live virtually all together. All of my clients are invited, including my upper level mastermind clients who I just met with last week. Like, everyone will be there. Okay. And I'm going to teach you my process for how to activate demand. I'm also offering a one-on-one demand activation call with me. I don't do one-on-one, so this is an extra special bonus. I only limited it to the first 10 people, and we're down to, I think, 6 or 7 or so that are left. Okay, so you get that. And at the Demand Activation Intensive, I'm also doing a fireside chat and Ask Me Anything fireside chat. They get really juicy. I don't record it. You can ask me literally anything. And it's just fun. It's just a way for us to connect also as women doctors, because we are out here in these streets selling our coaching. And, it's just nice to be in a room with others who are doing that as well. And I'm a woman doctor selling my coaching, right? So we get to be in the room and kind of do that together. So if you want to learn how to do this work, right? Like the actual real work that leads to clients, none of the fluff. I don't do fluff. I don't do fluff. I also don't do aesthetically pleasing things. Like, so if you want the aesthetics of being online, IPMD is not for you. Like, if you just want to look cute online but not actually make money, I can't help you with that. My clients make money. My clients make money online. They are, and now my clients are cute too, right? But they're not exclusively just being cute just for the sake of being cute. They're making money. Making money is really cute. It's really cute when you actually are making money in your business. So I want to invite you to join us. Okay, all you have to do is go to thedoctorcoachschool.com/IP-MD, or check it out in the description somewhere. If you're listening to the podcast, it's in the show notes as well. Book a decision call. All you have to do is book your call by tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So when I say tomorrow, I mean March 31st at 11:59 p.m. All you got to do is book your call by that date. So once you book your call by that date, you can join us inside of IPMD. You'll get on a call with me. I will help you to determine whether or not IPMD is a good fit for you at this time, right? So I will just help you make that decision on the call. And it might be, it might not be. And I will also let you know, if I don't think I can help you, I will not allow you to come into IPMD, because I want to make sure that I can also help you as well. So that's all I got, y'all. I am off to bed. I hope that this was helpful, and I can't wait to see y'all inside of IPMD. All right, y'all. Bye.